Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Qatar says Israel-Hamas truce to begin on Friday, 7 a.m. local time. 13 hostages to be released in the evening. Every possible effort being made to save 41 laborers trapped in the tunnel in India's Uttarakhand. Till now, drilling has been done up to 46.8 meters. In sports, India beats Australia in the first T20 international of the 5-match series by 2 wickets. The much-awaited truce between Israel and Hamas will begin at 7 a.m. local time on Friday, with the first batch of the hostages to be released at 4 p.m. The Qatar delegation-mediated truce will apply to both north and south of Gaza. The first group of hostages to be released would be 13 women and children. As per the agreement, 50 hostages will be released in total across 4 days in exchange for a pause in fighting and the release of 150 Palestinians currently held in Israeli jails. A significant increase in aid followed into Gaza also forms part of the government. Israelis in Tel Aviv said that they were happy a 4-day truce would begin between Israel and Hamas and hostages would be released from Gaza. They are hopeful that all hostages will be freed soon.
I just want to see the children come back. We want all of them to come back. But the first group of children will start breathing again, I think.
Well, I'm happy that the hostages, or some of them at least, are going to be released. Hopefully everyone will, and this is the only thing that I care about at this very moment. I think all other things will be resolved later. It's not something that we don't think about, but we really need the hostages back now.
We are more than happy to hear this news. We are very happy with any hostages that are going to be released. We are still waiting to see Omar's name in one of these lists. We are waiting for him.
UNRWA Chief Philip Lazzarini said that the long-awaited 4-day pause in fighting will provide an opportunity to reach people in need, including in the north, and to start repairing civilian infrastructure. Lazzarini reiterated his call for a long-standing humanitarian ceasefire and said that UNRWA is ready to receive more than 150 trucks of aid per day. Israeli army on Thursday released a video showing weapons and other materials found from Gaza's Jabalia area. Israeli commanders appear on the footage saying they found a tunnel shaft in a mosque and missiles of different sizes in the urban area.
Here, next to residential houses, we found all these missiles, long and medium range missiles, which are aimed from the civilian area towards the state of Israel. We entered the area and found missiles next to the mosque, very large missiles. They made it clear that terrorist activity was taking place inside the mosque and inside the urban area.
Israel has said, meanwhile, that achieving control over the northern half of Gaza will mark only the first stage in Israeli campaign to destroy Hamas. Army spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said that Israel will focus on planning and fulfilling the next stages of the war in the coming days.
Control over northern Gaza is the first step of a long war. We are preparing for the next stages. We are looking forward in the coming days. We will focus on planning and fulfilling the next stages of the war. When the lull in fighting goes into effect, our forces will be stationed at the ceasefire line inside the Gaza Strip. I want to emphasize inside the Gaza Strip, and they will also move along these lines that were agreed upon in the agreement.
At least 5 people, including 3 young children, were attacked in a stabbing incident at the Irish capital, Dublin, on Thursday. Prime Minister Leo Varadkar said that police had detained a suspect As per the police, one girl sustained serious injuries, while the other 2 children are being treated for less serious injuries. Police further added that the other 2 are also being treated for serious injuries. Clash between protesters and riot police also broke out in Dublin following the knife attack. Police in riot gear pushed back protesters near the scene of the stabbing. A police car and double-decker bus were burnt out and windows were smashed at a nearby hotel and restaurant. Police said that the man attacked a number of people on Parnell Square but was stopped from causing any further harm as members of the public intervened at an early stage of the attack. While speaking to media, Ireland's police chief said that he had not ruled out any motive in relation to a stabbing incident in Dublin, including whether it could be terror-related. It is Black Friday in the US, the day when Americans' bellies still full from Thanksgiving turkey kick off their holiday gift buying. It is often one of the busiest shopping days of the year, and retailers offer steep discounts to compete for consumers. But as Tony Waterman explains, there is a dark cloud hanging over this year's shopping bonanza. Let's see what's it.
Black Friday is synonymous with deals in the U.S. You can often get the latest electronics, appliances, clothing, you name it, for 40, 50, even 60% off regular prices, which is why it has always been one of, if not the busiest shopping days of the year. The National Retail Federation, which is the largest retail trade group in the U.S., says more than 180 million people are planning to shop over the Thanksgiving holiday, and the vast majority of them are doing that today on Black Friday. And those consumers are expected to spend slightly more money than they did last year, but the growth of that spend is slowing, which has businesses worried. Many big-name retailers, including electronics giant Best Buy, upscale department store Nordstrom, and Abercrombie & Fitch, have all issued lackluster fourth quarter forecasts. The common concern, the economy. Despite a solid jobs market and low unemployment, consumers are under pressure from persistent inflation. Things just cost more, which has eaten into their savings, and higher interest rates mean they're spending more on credit card debt, which could hold them back this holiday season. This has left retailers really cautious and intently focused on not just Black Friday, but also Cyber Monday, which is the big online sales day after Thanksgiving. If sales are strong, the holiday season could prove better than expected, but if they're muted, it could signal a ho-hum, ho-ho-ho season. In Austin, Texas, Tony Waterman reporting for DD India.
Let's turn focus to the Korean peninsula now. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said the country's recent launch of a Tuesday spy satellite was an exercise of its right to self-defense as Pyongyang celebrated the event. The North's state-run television released several still photographs of Kim visiting the National Aerospace Technology Administration to applaud space scientists and technicians. Kim also hosted a reception to celebrate the launch on Thursday. He said that Tuesday's launch was an eye-opening event in the face of dangerous and aggressive moves of the hostile forces. Madagascar is all set to announce preliminary results of its presidential election on November 24th or 25th. The country's incumbent president, Andry Rajoelina, is on course for re-election in a vote marked by low turnout and an opposition boycott. DD India's Isaac Lucando has more.
The looming announcement of preliminary results in Madagascar's presidential election has the Indian Ocean island on edge. Alleged irregularities and low voter turnout are already tainting the possible re-election of President Andry Rajoelina. By Wednesday evening, the National Electoral Commission had declared that Rajoelina secured 60% of the votes, with 68% of polling stations having announced their results. These results put him on course for a third term as leader of the island's 28 million people. However, 10 out of 13 candidates in the election have already declared that they will not support Rajoelina's possible election. Allegations of his acquisition of French citizenship in 2014, a factor for disqualification, contributed to many of them boycotting the elections. Rajoelina, a former DJ and mayor of the capital, Antananarivo, served as the president of a provisional government in Madagascar for 5 years before later being elected president in 2019. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam reporting for DD India.
Over 9 years later, the court hearings between flight MH370 family members and Malaysia Airlines, Boeing and other companies will begin in Beijing on November 27th. Flight MH370 disappeared on March 8, 2014, en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, leaving 239 people on board. Family members continue to push for search to be resumed, citing debris findings. New Zealand's National Party formally signed an agreement to form a new coalition government more than 40 days after the election, with the role of Deputy Prime Minister split between populist New Zealand First Party leader Winston Peters and ACT Party leader David Seymour. National Party Deputy Leader Nicola Willis will be the Finance Minister and Winston Peters will be Foreign Minister, the three parties said in a joint statement. The coalition revealed a series of policy changes that the coalition government will undertake, including narrowing the remit of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour, election campaign in full swing for assembly polls in Telangana. India's Assam flags off Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, apprising people about the benefits by the government department. The 54th edition of International Film Festival continues to spread its magic in Goa. We will tell you more ahead.
Recent conflicts, wars and calamities have displaced millions of people worldwide. Will this migrant situation lead to a global socio-economic crisis? Watch Connecting the Dots at these times only on DD India.
Meghalaya, the abode of clouds. A land so enchanting. It makes time stand still. With a distinctive and ethnic culture. And vibrant tribal folklore. Filled with the goodness of nature. Every day here is an adventure. Home to music, passion, and to hopes and ambitions. Welcome to the magical land of Meghalaya.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
A platform for the developing world, amplifying the voice of the global south with a focus on the growing economies, resolving the conflicts, showcasing the culture, tradition, heritage and diversity. Watch Voice of the Global South at these times on DD India.
Recent conflicts, wars and calamities have displaced millions of people worldwide. Will this migrant situation lead to a global socio-economic crisis? Watch Connecting the Dots at these times only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more updates. Seychelles Foreign Minister Sylvester Radegonda, who is in India for a 3-day official visit, met with India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi on Thursday. On the second day of the visit, the two leaders had wide-ranging conversations on bilateral relations and also exchanged views on regional concerns. After the meeting, Indian Foreign Minister announced an exchange of MOUs on Indian grant assistance for implementation of small development projects and cooperation in the field of youth and sports. And maintaining hope with the 41 workers trapped by the collapse of the tunnel in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, rescue operations at the Silkyara tunnel experienced a bit delay on Thursday as the drilling machine ran into an iron lattice girder, a structural element of the tunnel which had been buried in the debris and had to be removed manually. Drone technology is also being used in the rescue operations. CEO of Squadron Infra Mining Private Limited informed media about the latest drone technology being implemented to combat the crisis.
We got a drone-based LiDAR sensors, so which हम monitor कर रहे हैं regularly if how's it going. That's what is. We got this is the latest one of the latest technologies which can go inside the tunnels. It does not need, it goes into GPS denied areas. And so it goes autonomous in inaccessible areas, and then you can assess if there is any convergence, any.
All right, our correspondent Dibendu Mondal is joining us to spell out more details. Dibendu, to begin with, get us the latest update on the status of the trapped workers there, and also to what extent is the rescue operation continuing?
Well, good morning, Preeti. Last night the rescue operation had hit another roadblock where the auger drilling machine had run into some trouble and it had stopped working. According to officials who are working here on the ground, the auger machine is currently being repaired, and by 9 o'clock in the morning the drilling is going to start again. The workers here have already been able to drill around 46.28 meters into the debris, and roughly about 12 meters is still left to be drilled. So today is a very crucial day here at Silkyara, because the rescue workers are hoping that by today evening some sort of good news could come in, because they are likely to achieve the milestone of rescuing the workers by today evening if everything goes well. Since only around 12 meters is left, and the auger drill machine is currently being repaired and is being checked thoroughly in order to ensure that it can be deployed again and effectively to drill further into the debris. So this, let me also tell our viewers that this auger drilling machine is being used for vertical drilling into the tunnel, which is considered as one of the safest method of drilling and rescuing such trapped workers or trapped individuals from inside the tunnel. Also, apart from the auger drilling, there are subsequently and simultaneously two other drilling happening at the Silkyara tunnel, one from the Barkot side, which is near the Tehri, from where a micro tunneling machine is being used to make a tunnel, but that would of course take longer time because the distance from where the workers are and the Barkot side is pretty long, so therefore that drilling could perhaps take longer. And the other best international practice to rescue in such an operation is the side wave, which is known as the drift drilling. So drift drilling is also simultaneously being carried out, but of course these two methods are time-consuming and time-taking methods. The fastest and the safest perhaps is the auger drilling, and if everything goes well, by today evening we can expect the workers, the 41 trapped workers, being pulled out of the tunnel. So they will be, the NDRF has also been rehearsing about how to bring these 41 trapped workers out from the tunnel. We have been told that the NDRF will be using the stretchers to bring them out, because if the workers are asked to crawl out, the welded pipes could hurt their knees and they could be fragile, because it's been today is the 13th day the workers are trapped inside. They could be mentally and physically weak to traverse or crawl through a narrow pipe. So therefore, the stretcher is being considered as the best method. The NDRF parallelly have also been practicing and rehearsing the entire operation on the sides, in order to ensure that the operation is carried out very smoothly. We are also told that the NDRF will, in fact, some of the officials of the NDRF will crawl through the welded pipes into the tunnel in order to ensure the safe passage to the 41 workers through the stretcher out from here at the Silkyara tunnel. So to wrap up, I would say the hope is high that by today evening we could get some positive news from here at Silkyara tunnel rescue operation.
All right, Dibyendu, extensive efforts are being made to rescue these trapped workers, but given it being the 13th day, this mission, has been one of the most tumultuous ones. Let us understand more from you. Did you talk to the authorities there? Did you talk to those involved in the rescue mission? What are the logistical challenges they are facing, and how difficult is this mission when we talk of, bringing out the 41 trapped workers?
Well, of course, this is not an easy task, because it has the tunnel. In fact, in any tunnel rescue as such, it is a challenging task because of the uncertainties of what lies inside the debris. There could be iron girders, there could be different kinds of rocks, which takes different machineries to cut. So to bring the machineries, so of course, this is a very high altitude area, and such machineries are generally not available in such areas. So the machines have been brought, some from Dehradun, some from Delhi. All these machineries have been mobilized from different parts of the country in order to ensure a quick and a safe passage out for these workers. So also, the multiple roadblocks this rescue mission is hitting is because of the iron girders which needs to be cut manually. So the drilling machine can only drill through rocks and debris. It cannot drill through iron girders or for that matter quartz, which is a kind of a rock which is predominant here. So to cut through the quartz, there are different machines, diamond cutters and different machines that are used here, used to cut through these rocks and these different kinds of iron girders that are used in making of a tunnel. So to analyze each step, to take each step very carefully, it is very important for the authorities to judge and to put this entire operation effective, and to put this entire things into perspective and into the right track is something that is challenging here at the Silkyara tunnel operation, rescue operation.
All right, Dibyendu, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. That was our correspondent, Dibyendu Mandal, spelling out more on the current status of missions in the rescue operation that is currently underway in Uttarakhand. We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, let's turn focus to other updates. The international finale of G20 Think You was organized by the Indian Navy on Thursday. The event saw participation of teams from all the G20 plus 9 nations. The global quiz offered a global stage for intellectual exchange and competition, while strengthening the bridges of friendship with India's G20 partners. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar addressed the international finals of G20. Vice President said that the G20 event organized under India's presidency was a historic event and will be remembered for centuries.
The Indian Navy Quiz Think went global this year to commemorate Azadi Ka Amrit Kaal, with India assuming the chairmanship of prestigious G20 The Navy has transformed this competition, G20 Think, into a beacon of unity, promoting cultural exchange and friendship among G20 nations.
Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva laid out Brazil's priorities during its G20 presidency, which begins in December. In a cabinet meeting with his ministers, Lula stressed on the need to focus on issues like reducing hunger and poverty, addressing climate change, and reforming global governance to bring about meaningful change. He has also criticized international financial institutions for their practices and called for reform, insisting expansion of the permanent UN Security Council. The G20 foreign ministers will meet in Rio de Janeiro in February to discuss these priorities. This comes after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted a virtual G20 summit to review the policy goals set at the previous summit. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, during an interaction in New Delhi on Thursday, stated that security of consumer data is the government's top priority. Let's listen in.
The government's policy or the government's approach in creating public platforms which are going to be used by the customer or the citizen or the individual who wants banking facility is top on the priority list. His data is completely protected. It cannot be misused. But at the same time, it shall not be so restrictive that the person will have to run between one pillar to the other post to seek facility. The moment you approve that you're willing to give it, yes, to that limited purpose, it will be shared without much hindrance. So on data protection, I can assure the Indian citizens that your data remains completely safe.
And the 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India offers a diverse cinematic experience for attendees. A wide range of films from various countries was showcased on the fourth day of the 54th edition of IFFI. DD India's correspondent Shama Mishra reports from Goa.
One of the highlights of the day was the screening of the films in international competition, including Measures of Men, directed by Lars Krom, and The Other Widow, directed by Mayan Rip. Another notable screening on day 4 were of Hakikat and Bisal Baad in the restored classics section. In addition to film screenings, the day also included panel discussions and interactive sessions with renowned filmmakers and industry professionals. There was an in-conversation session with actor Pankaj Tripathi. Another session titled Indian Documentary on World Stage featured Kartiki Gonsalves, R.V. Ramani, among others, and another session held was titled The Road to Oscars, which had the presence of Guneet Monga Kapoor, Carter Pilcher, Rasul Pulkutti, and Sonal Kalra.
A platform like this is going to give a lot of empowerment to the new youth, and I'm looking forward to interacting with them, looking forward to parting my little bit of knowledge that I have acquired.
Such a great community of people here that are like-minded and who have goals to just go out and tell great stories, whatever it might be, if it's fiction, if it's documentaries, and I think there's so much potential in a space like this of people coming together.
The gala premiere of Hari Om Hari, a 2023 Gujarati comedy film directed and written by Nisarg Vaidya, was also witnessed. The film stars Siddharth Randeria, Ronak Kamdar, Vyoma Nandi and Malhar Rathod. Overall, Day 4 of the International Film Festival of India in Goa offered a wide range of films from different countries, showcasing the diversity and artistry of global cinema.
Day 4 of the 54th IFFI concludes, and with this we can say that we are halfway into the film festival. Cinebuffs and entertainment lovers have enjoyed the day thoroughly with various masterclasses, in-conversation sessions and screening of movies in the restored classics, Indian panorama, international competition and much more, many other segments. We look forward to Day 5 as it unfolds with many interesting and similar activities. With camera person Sanjeev Sharma, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Goa.
And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from India. Indian President Draupadi Murmu paid homage to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji on the eve of his martyrdom day. In a message, the President said that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji sacrificed his life for the protection of human values and rights. She said that his teachings inspired us to serve humanity and promote the unity of all. Election campaigning has concluded for the Legislative Assembly elections in the Indian state of Rajasthan on Thursday. Voting is scheduled to take place on November 25th. On the final day of the campaigning on Thursday, prominent leaders from all parties vigorously campaigned in support of their candidates. Campaigning is underway in India's southern state of Telangana. Star campaigners in Telangana actively campaign for candidates of respective parties. India's largest political party, BJP, targeted opponents over dynastic politics, while TRS claimed to address the issue of poverty in Telangana. Indian Prime Minister's initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra continues further in the Indian state of Assam, which has extended to a couple of newer districts on Thursday. The Yatra made its landfall in Moregaon, Dibrugarh, Hojai and Kokrajhar districts in Assam. In the program, people were educated about various benefits which will be provided by the departments of the government. The nano area spray drone was also displayed on this occasion. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Who is going to win? We give you an update on the Netherlands elections ahead. You will have to shell out more euros for your Venice vacation. Stay with us to know why. We acquaint you with COP28 summit that begins in the UAE from November 30th, and what will it focus on?
Recent conflicts, wars and calamities have displaced millions of people worldwide. Will this migrant situation lead to a global socio-economic crisis? Watch Connecting the Dots at these times only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick recap of the top stories once again. Qatar says Israel-Hamas truce to begin on Friday, 7 a.m. local time. 13 hostages to be released in the evening. Every possible effort being made to save 41 labourers trapped in the tunnel in India's Uttarakhand. Till now, drilling has been done up to 46.8 meters. In sports, India beats Australia in the first T20 international of the 5-match series by 2 wickets. Far-right populist Geert Wilders' win sent a warning shot to the mainstream parties across Europe ahead of European Parliament elections next June. DD India's Trent Murray gets us more.
While the initial surprise and shock at Geert Wilders' election win in the Netherlands may just be starting to subside, there is still intense focus now on whether him and his Freedom Party can form a coalition government and ultimately lead the Netherlands. Now, for 25 years, this is a politician who has really been on the fringes of mainstream politics. He has not been a huge electoral force in the Netherlands, but that all changed on election night with those results showing that he won 37 seats in the 150-seat parliament. Now, that was by far the largest vote share. His closest rival was a centre-left Green group who won 25 seats. And so it really does put him now in the box position to try and form a coalition government. But it will not be easy. Many other political parties are very opposed to him and his party and what he represents. By all stretches, his policies are quite extreme for Europe. His policies include halting all asylum and immigration to the Netherlands. His platform includes a banning of mosques and Islamic schools. He's suggested that the Netherlands could have a Brexit-style vote on pulling it out of the European Union, and he is also a supporter of ending military support for Ukraine. These are all positions which really do not square well with the majority of the Dutch electorate. So even though he won the most number of seats on that night, trying to find political friends, if you will, to join him in a coalition government will remain difficult. But nevertheless, he says he does intend to govern, and he has had negotiations over the past 24 hours to try and gain some of those political friends. The other outcome that we could see, that we are watching for, is effectively all of his opponents, all of the other political parties from the mainstream, putting aside their ideological differences, coming together to form a grand coalition in order to try and block him from power. But that, of course, too, comes with its risks. It could backfire with the electorate. Given that he did place first, many in the Netherlands will expect that he should be the front runner to lead the country. Trent Murray for DD India, Berlin.
Business heir Daniel Noboa was sworn in as Ecuador's new president on Thursday. Ecuador's youngest ever president, Daniel Noboa, pledges to reduce violence and create jobs via urgent legislative reforms. Noboa, 35 years of age, won an October runoff in the South American country, which is facing deep economic challenges and spiking violence that reached an unprecedented crescendo with the murder of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. Noboa will serve as the president for just 17 months, finishing predecessor Guillermo Lasso's term after the latter brought forward elections to avoid likely impeachment.
To fight violence, we must fight unemployment. The country needs jobs. And to create them, I will send urgent reforms to the Assembly, which should be treated with responsibility and by putting the country first.
Ecuador's newly inaugurated president, Daniel Noboa, appointed his new cabinet on Thursday after his swearing-in ceremony. President Noboa appointed 26-year-old Said Frishi Naranjo, who is the youngest minister of his cabinet in the Ministry of Environment. Noboa won an October runoff and will serve as president for just 17 months, finishing predecessor Lasso's term after the latter brought forward elections to avoid likely impeachment. China has said that there has been no detection of unusual or novel pathogens or unusual clinical presentations, including in Beijing and the northeastern province of Liaoning. Now, according to WHO statement, Chinese health authorities provided requested data on an increase in respiratory illnesses and reported clusters of pneumonia in children. Earlier, the Chinese authorities had said that such illnesses were at their highest level in 3 years. To get out more details, we go to our correspondent, DD India's Andrew Wood, who's joining us from Hong Kong. Andrew, good morning. Help us understand this development better. Get us more details. China has said that there is no detection of unusual or novel pathogens or unusual clinical presentations. Get us the details first.
Well, that's what the WHO is saying as well, the World Health Organization. It asked for information because there were these reports, sometimes unconfirmed, of an increase in apparent clusters of child pneumonia, and also because the Chinese authorities themselves have said there'd been a rise in respiratory illnesses. So China apparently provided the information, test results and so on to the WHO within the 24-hour period, and the WHO seems to be satisfied with that. Remember, these are the highest levels that China has said for 3 years. And don't forget that that means we've had the highest levels since the end of the pandemic measures towards the late last year when they were lifted. So in a way, it's to be expected there would be a rise in respiratory illnesses because all of those strict rules and regulations and measures that China put in place to control the spread of COVID also controlled the spread of things like flu and other sort of respiratory illnesses. So the conclusion seems to be, the interim conclusion seems to be that the rise in respiratory illnesses was to be expected because you've had the end of the COVID restrictions, and we're in the and in November, October, November, that's when the start of the flu and the cold season starts.
How has China estimated the spread of the rise of child pneumonia? To what extent has the spread been?
Well, this is the government has not given anything, well, not that much information publicly the warning was sounded by an organisation known as ProMed, which is a worldwide network for monitoring, sometimes anecdotally, an increase in unusual diseases or even known diseases, but something that may not be captured immediately by official statistics. So it was ProMed that, in a way, raised the alarm, and ProMed also raised the alarm too in the earlier days of the COVID pandemic. And don't forget, both China, the Chinese government, and the WHO are under a lot of scrutiny. They had a lot of criticism in the early days, especially of the pandemic, that they were very slow in giving information out about the spread of COVID.
All right, Andrew, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. And the 28th conference of the parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, that is COP28, is set to kick off from November 30th to December 12th. The COP28 agenda outlines a comprehensive framework encompassing diverse themes and initiatives aimed at catalyzing global action to combat climate change. With COP28 on the horizon, the world stands at a critical juncture in the fight against climate change. This gathering in the UAE signifies the collective commitment required to navigate the intricate challenges posed by climate change and forge a sustainable future for all. Meanwhile, Brazil plans to propose a huge fund to pay for the conservation of tropical forests at the United Nations COP28 Climate Change Summit. Brazil's top climate diplomat, André Correa do Lagos, said Brazil presented the idea of a tropical forest conservation fund on Thursday at a meeting with ministers from 7 other Amazon rainforest countries. He added that it's a conceptual proposal with a view to create a fund to help conserve tropical forests around the world in 80 countries. He further said that the proposal is not finalized and Brazil is seeking support and suggestions from other rainforest nations. COP28 Climate Change Summit will begin later this month in Dubai. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Chilean President Gabriel Boric journeyed to Antarctica to highlight the urgency of climate change. Both explored Collins and Nelson's glaciers and observed native species on the Kopatik Island. Guterres will share his insights at the UN Climate Summit COP28 in Dubai, calling for greater action amidst the escalating crisis. The summit seeks to hold Paris Agreement's 1.5 degrees Celsius warming target, crucial as current emissions pledges could lead to nearly 3 degrees Celsius warming the century, as per the recent UN analysis.
The Arctic and Antarctic poles have severely suffered the effects. It fills us with pride that the United Nations Secretary General decided to enter and see through Chile. But this also means a great responsibility. We have defended our position as a gateway towards Antarctica. That is why we are so happy to welcome him to this continent of science and peace and to collaborate in this debate within the margins of COP, which will happen in the upcoming days.
Peru's tropical glaciers have dramatically decreased due to climate change, with a decline of 56% in the past 60 years. Now, this loss jeopardizes over 20 million Peruvians who rely on the glacier's water resources. An inventory reported that there are now 2,084 glaciers covering 1,050 square kilometers in comparison to 2,399 square kilometers of ice and snow in 1962. As global temperatures continue to rise, these liver risking new mountain lagoons at lower altitudes caused by glacier melting pose the threat of flooding. World leaders will meet in Dubai from November 30th to December 12th for COP28 summit to assess progress on climate change and also discuss plans to achieve the Paris Agreement goals. The International Energy Agency chief outlined 5 conditions for success, including increased renewable investment, energy efficiency, and clean energy financing. The UAE's president of the conference called for oil and gas industry participation, urging net zero emissions by 2050 and a commitment to near zero methane emissions by 2030. Ahead of the summit, countries remain divided on fossil fuel phase-outs. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. Fires in the world's largest wetland located in western Brazil have killed hundreds of animals, affecting the biome's natural balance. Most of the dead animals Found by the group were reptiles and amphibians. The fires, which were caused by high temperatures, low humidity and a large amount of organic matter, were brought under control. The number of fires in Pantanal broke the record for the month since monitoring began in 1998, data from Space Research Agency showed. Venice will start testing a daily admission fee and cap on visitor access to its famous canals from next April. The move is aimed at managing the flow of tourists on spring bank holidays and some summer weekends. The restrictions will apply from 8:30 to 4 p.m. local time, initially for a total of 29 days and cover most weekends from April 25th to mid-July next year. Restrictions will not apply to the lagoon's smaller islands such as Murano. Macy's annual Thanksgiving parade ushered in the holiday season in New York. Beloved characters like Snoopy and SpongeBob SquarePants soared through the skies while bands marched along the streets. The parade kicked off in Manhattan's Upper West Side and Central Park and ended outside Macy's Herald Square on 34th Street. Altogether, 25 balloons and 31 floats took to the streets in the festive celebration that also included appearances by Cher and perennial parade star Santa Claus. A painting made of ST rice in the Mekong Delta province of Sok Trang has set a Vietnam record for the biggest of its kind. The Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism held a ceremony to announce the record and kick off the 5th Food Street Festival. The painting, measuring 4 into 7 meters, was the result of 30 days of hard work by 10 artisans. The festival will last until November 27th with 34 booths by businesses and artisans in and outside Sok Trang. A quick break ahead, but after that, French President Emmanuel Macron applauded France as a major destination for foreign investments. We tell you ahead why. In the first cricket T20 International 5-match series, India thrashed Australia by 2 wickets in South Indian city of Visakhapatnam on Thursday. Indian badminton stars earn laurels at China Masters as they progress to the quarterfinal of the tournament.
Recent conflicts, wars and calamities have displaced millions of people worldwide. Will this migrant situation lead to a global socio-economic crisis? Watch Connecting the Dots at these times only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. Let's get to updates from the world of business now. Asian shares were dragged lower by China on Friday amid little guidance from Wall Street, which was closed for a holiday, while the dollar remained on the back foot as investors bet US rates have peaked. The yen was little changed after data showed that Japan's core consumer inflation picked up again in October, although by less than expected, and factory activity shrank for a 6th straight month. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan eased 0.4%, but are headed for a weekly gain of 0.9%. Japan's markets Nikkei climbed 1% to charge towards a 33-year high hit on Monday. The World Bank and Bangladesh on Thursday signed 5 financing agreements worth over $1.1 billion to help the country achieve resilient and inclusive growth. The projects include early childhood development, primary health, secondary education, and gas distribution efficiency. The agreements were signed in the presence of Senior Secretary of Bangladesh Government, Sharifa Khan, and World Bank Country Director for Bangladesh, Abdul Asek, in Dhaka. Sri Lanka's central bank reduced its key policy rates by 100 basis points on Friday to boost growth as the country struggles to emerge from its worst financial crisis in decades. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka, in a statement, said that it lowered the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate to 9% and 10% respectively. The CBSL has forecast Sri Lanka's economy will shrink 2% this year, after a 7.8% contraction in 2022 when it went into a tailspin because of a severe foreign exchange shortage. The World Bank, however, has predicted a 3.8% contraction in 2023. French President Emmanuel Macron inaugurated on Thursday a major investment of 2.1 billion euros by Danish pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk in France. The investment will be based in Chartres, west of Paris. Nova, known for its hugely popular anti-obesity drug Wegovy, produces insulin in France. Macron praised the attractiveness of France as a major destination for foreign investments, thanks to a string of laws passed by the government on labor and taxation, including unpopular ones.
On a recréé 2 millions d'emplois. Over the last few years, we have worked very hard together. It's the fruit of all these reforms, of what has been brought by the economic fabric to all Frenchmen and women in the factories, their businesses all over the territory. But we have got some catching up to do, and even a bit more, thanks to the ordinances and laws passed on the Labour 2017-2018. We have regained a flexibility that also make it easier to create jobs and that recreates attractiveness through our reforms, including, I reassure you, the most unpopular reforms.
And up next, we get you updates from the world of sports now. India beat Australia by 2 wickets in the first cricket T20 international of 5-match series in South Indian city of Visakhapatnam on Thursday. After winning the toss, India opted to bowl first, though an explosive century by Josh Inglis and a 130-run partnership with Steve Smith powered Australia to 208 for 3 wickets. Chasing the target, Indian skipper Surya Kumar Yadav scored 80 off 42 balls, while Kishan made 58 off 39 balls. The second match of the series will take place on Sunday. In great news for all Indian para-athletes, Union Sports Minister announced the onset of maiden Khelo India Para Games that will be taking place in New Delhi this December. Our next report gets you all the details that you need to know on this. Take a look.
In a major boost to Para Games in India, the Indian government has announced first ever Khelo India Para Games that will take place in New Delhi in December this year. Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur announced the major move through a video message.
I'm proud to announce that from December 10th to 17th, the first ever Khelo India Para Games will be held in various locations across New Delhi. A total of 7 sports, including para-athletics, para-shooting, para-archery and more, will be in display across 3 Sports Authority of India stadiums.
India registered a stupendous performance at the recently concluded Asian Para Games, recording their best ever performance, winning 111 medals. India's contingent also outshone in the recently concluded Asian Para Archery Championship. With a vision to enhance the performance and participation of para-athletes at international level, the announcement comes as a big shot in the arm towards the government's initiative to develop para-sports in the country. The event will further help in identifying talented para-athletes who will be aided with ample support from Sports Authority of India and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports to hone their skills.
The Khelo India scheme has remained a game changer for Indian sports. The Khelo India Games have played a pivotal role in the scheme, with total of 11 Khelo India Games held since 2018, including 5 Khelo India Youth Games, 3 Khelo India University Games and 3 Khelo India Winter Games have been successfully conducted. From these games, we have identified nearly 1,000 talented athletes, and many of them have participated in the Asian Games or Para Games or the Commonwealth to the Olympic Games. I wish all the participants of the Khelo India Para Games all the very best.
Over 1,350 participants from across 32 states and union territories, including the Services Sports Control Board, are expected to participate in the maiden Khelo India Para Games that will witness para-athletes vie for honours in 7 disciplines, including para-athletics, para-shooting, para-archery, para-football, para-badminton, para-table tennis and para-weightlifting. The events will be held across 3 size stadiums, which is the IG Stadium, Shooting Range in Tughlakabad and the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. Sports Desk, DD India.
India's top-ranked men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty and singles player HS Pranoy progressed to the quarterfinals of the China Masters. Asian Games gold medalists Satvik and Chirag defeated Japan's Akira Koga and Taichi Saito 21-15, 21-16 in 46 minutes. In the quarterfinals, the Indian duo will face Indonesia's Leo Rolly Carnando and Daniel Martin. Asian Games bronze medalist Pranoy too made it to the quarterfinals with a straight games win. He beat Denmark's Magnus Johannesson for 21-12, 21-18 in 40 minutes. Pranoy next takes on Japan's Kodai Naroka. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.